You have an agenda before you. We're going to flip the agenda and take B first. The RZ 2025-06 request to rezone 22.3 acres on Newnan Crossing Bypass and Turkey Creek Road from RS 20 to OI1. The applicant is actually the city of Newnan initiated this request. Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just to remind Council, this was something that you all looked at back in March when the Coweta County Administration wants to relocate their offices. They discovered that really they need to be in the city of Newnan to do so. So with Council and the County Commission working together, these two properties were annexed by legislation. At that particular time, no zoning action was initiated. So by our zoning ordinance, they were given the default designation of RS20, which is a residential single-family designation. It does not allow them to build an office for government purposes, but OI1, which is what we're seeking now, would. So just as a refresher, this will be coming up August 26th as a public hearing. The Planning Commission did hear this item on July the 8th, and they voted 6-0 to recommend approval. I'd be glad to answer any questions. We do not know at this time what the plans are by the county as to how many buildings they will put on the property. I think they're still in development stages, the last information I had.
Well, we're glad to help the county to be able to still stay in the city so that they can vote on things and it be legal.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate that very much. Any questions of council regarding this particular item in a work session?
No, we just want to make sure we're consistent in treating these rezonings in the manner which we all have prescribed.
Sure. Our policy says work session, so here we are.
Yes, sir.
Give you one more chance.
So basically, before it comes back to us, they'll have a better plan?
No, sir.
What's
No,
going on?
no,
We're just
we're
going to
not
go ahead and
gonna-
change
No,
the
sir.
zoning as is?
This is just to let you know, it's coming up August 26th for the public hearing, but as it's kind of a refresher for, I know it's been a few months since y'all took this action, and just to remind you what we're doing this and why we're doing it.
Right.
Yep.
We won't see a plan.
Yep.
It'll
But
be
they'll still have to meet the city buffering and stuff for those residences back around it?
Actually, they're not, as a government entity, they're exempt from the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, the only thing we'll have control of is soil erosion, if I'm correct.
That's correct.
Stormwater and soil erosion.
That's right.
Yeah, that's correct. And life safety.
Right. Okay, anything else on this? All right, so we're going to go to A, and I'm going to recuse myself because one of my agents is involved in this particular transaction. So I'm going to step away and ask Mayor Pro Tem Thomason to take charge of the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Brady.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Smith, just stay right where you are. We are here to discuss rezoning request RZ 2025-01, request to rezone 29.26 acres at 3000 McIntosh Parkway from CGN to MXD. The applicant is Oxford Properties, LLC, as represented by Melissa Griffiths, attorney at law.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. You mentioned it as a request. This future land use label is business/office. This is a request to go through mixed-use development. A little bit of background. We discussed that back in 2007, 2008, this property, this is kind of a master zoning plan from that timetable, was split into a commercial zoning as it is now on this area down here at the bottom. These pieces were zoned CGN. These pieces were zoned either RMH for residential multiple family high density or RML for low density to build what is now known as the Willows. I think it was Trees of Newnan originally. It's 500 apartment units that currently have been built, done, and have been in existence for a number of years. The southern portion that was designated commercial never manifested. We never saw any plans, any developments for any sort of commercial plans that were outlined back at that time. And we wanted to provide some of this information because there was some litigation that was initiated as a result of the city council denying the first rezoning attempt. And there was a settlement agreement which resulted in this rezoning ordinance, and this is kind of a mixed-use development concept, even though it doesn't have a mixed-use development designation. So the thought process is what you have coming before you today and later on to the 26th of the public hearing is more of an enhancement or an evolution of kind of the original mixed-use design, in the sense that it's going to get a mixed-use designation if you approve it, but it's more of a continuation or an amendment to this previous plan. So just a little bit of background on the piece itself, and of course, here's kind of give you an example. It's one tax parcel, but it's bisected by McIntosh Parkway, which at the time didn't exist, and one of, I think, the settlement agreement conditions was that Newnan Vista finish out a portion of McIntosh Parkway, which has already been completed. And then you have this private drive, Wilwatt Way, that bisects these two pieces over here. So you've got 29.26 acres that the applicant wants to redevelop, and they want to do 70 townhomes, which would be in this southern portion, which abuts to a couple of hotels off Ashley Park Boulevard. The Madison Park at Newnan Lakes planned development is over here on this side. And then you've got 329 apartments and 26,760 square feet of non-residential space, office, commercial, restaurant space. They've included such amenities as a clubhouse, club room, leasing office, fitness center, pool, fire pit, outdoor grilling stations, a dog park, and a connection to the Link Trail system. And the applicant does note that the amenities offered will be shared between all of the mixed-use development that's being proposed. They include a 15-foot planted landscape strip off the public right-of-way along McIntosh Parkway, a 35-foot densely planted landscape area to the northern portion of the site where it abuts the existing RML, and then a 25-foot where it abuts the existing RMH. I don't think I had that plan. Okay. So in addition, this proposal does want to do privately owned streets. They want to have the townhome portion be for sale units with an established HOA. And the north side of the project will be basically 18.806 acres with 329 apartments divided into that. That's roughly 17.5 units an acre for the apartments. The information we've been provided with to give you a breakdown is 164 one-bedroom units between 700 to 900 square feet with rent ranging from $1,625 to $1,800. 147 two-bedroom units between 1,050 to 1,250 square feet with rent ranging from $1,990 to $2,250. 18 three-bedroom units between 1,499 square feet, and I think that may be a misprint on my part. It says 1,450, but I think that may be 1,540 square feet, with rent beginning at $2,500 and on up. The south side of the project, the townhome portion, will consist of a little over 10 acres, and you take 70 homes and you divide that in 10 acres, that's going to give you a rough density of 6.5 units per acre. In the applicant's development summary report, they do say that the townhome development will not exceed 8 units per acre. The applicant has stated that all townhomes are of a similar size, about 1,700 square feet, with 12 of them being front entry units and 58 having rear entry. Proposed pricing begins at $400,000. For comparison purposes, the apartment side, the highest designation that we currently have is what's called the RMH for high density multiple family. That allows up to 12 units an acre, and also for 8 units an acre for townhomes. So this townhome development to the south definitely does not exceed that threshold. The apartment side could exceed that threshold with the 17.5 units an acre. Of course, the applicant does provide that any documents associated with this application, any additional documents presented by the applicant, evidencing plans, profiles, elevations, architectural standards, landscaping, exterior, and materials presented shall be used in the development as proper conditions. Because of the size of this development, it went through the development of regional impact. That process has been completed. I think I included in your packet some of the results of that, some of the suggestions. Those would be conditions that were what's required of them, and the other ones are kind of some suggestions of the things for the city to look at doing. But any of those things that are required that the DRI found, they would also, the development would be bound by those conditions as well. We kind of look at this and we've put in there that yes, it has to be consistent with what's being proposed. They would be capped at 329 apartments. It'll be capped at 70 townhomes. City landscape architect Mike Furbish took a look at this. This is the kind of preliminary tree management plan along with a site plan, gives you a little bit clearer rendering of what's being proposed. And he did indicate that while they've addressed the majority of concerns, his concern is he doesn't necessarily want this concept plan to override any requirements of the ordinance. When it gets to development stages, site plan stages, sometimes there is a conflict between what the concept plan shows and when it gets to the civil plan, and he wants to allow some room so they make sure they adhere to the requirements of the ordinance. July 8th, the public hearing was held before the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission did vote 6-0 to recommend denial of that rezoning request, and in your packet, I've included the draft minutes of that meeting. Going through some of the slides, and the applicant does have additional slides, they'll be glad to answer any questions. It shows you some of the proposed townhomes. Here's an example of what they plan to do as far as the mixed-use portions. Here's some of the apartment standards and the looks. And of course, I have the applicant, as you can tell, over here, all of them. And if we have any questions, we can answer for you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Council? Questions?
Well, I got some questions to start off with.
All right.
Just reading through the overage by Mr. Smith, I read on, just for your information, page 5, they said right towards the middle of the page, by comparison, the highest density multifamily zoning district in the city's current regulation is in the RMH zoning, which allows up to 12 units per acre for apartments and 8 units per acre for townhomes. And in the third paragraph down, though, it says on the 18.806 acres, it's 329 apartments units divided by 18.806 acres yields a rough density of 17.5 units per acre. That's grossly over. Is that still within the allowable?
Well, that's why the mixed-use development gives you that option. It's a plan-based, concept-based, but we want to offer that by comparison purposes to give you a reference. We're not saying it's over, it's under. We just want to include that information to give you a reference point.
To follow up on Dustin's question, do we have any other mixed-use developments at the 17.5 or higher,
Yes.
or close to that?
I think one you
Which ones will
recently
they be?
approved on the bypass was a little bit higher. That's one Mr. Cole was involved in a couple months ago. If memory serves, that one was in excess of the 17.5 units an acre.
Okay.
Another question then, if nobody else has anything to, I was looking at the traffic study. Let me see, well, let's back that up a little bit. On page 59, the Kimley Horn report talks about minimum building setbacks, front, side, and rear, all 0 feet. So the 100 square foot per unit, and then it also talks about the recreational area. So there's kind of two questions here. And then right above that, in that section, minimum recreational area, 100 square feet per dwelling unit. Does that include like the buffers, the paved areas, easements, stuff like that that actually are not usable at all, or is that actually usable?
It would be usable open space.
Green space.
Passive parks, amenities, recreational areas that would be usable.
Okay. And then for the building setbacks of 0 feet for everything.
That, again, it's mixed use, it's MXD. It's a negotiable point.
Okay. All right, let's go to traffic. This is page 67. Looking at the impact study, this came from the, again, Jared McKinnon from the Kimley Horn and Associates, talking about the, it looks like the roads and streets. This development would produce almost 4,100 new trips per day. I'm just trying to read this chart. It's very small, but it looks like it's at the very bottom. New trips, 4,076 trips, daily trips. It just seems like a whole lot of trips added for this one development on that road. And that's, you know, anyway, that's a concern of mine, adding that much traffic to that road. And then that's in addition to all the service providers pretty much saying it's cause of concern for service calls and everything else. And unfortunately, because it is still, like you said, in concept, we're left with a lot open at this point. Anyways, do you have any thoughts on that as, you know, from the planning perspective and ways to maybe mitigate some of those issues.
Part of the DRI process was looking at, there's things that they were going to be required to do, and there were suggestions that the city might consider for traffic improvement that we might implement at some point in time. But they did go through that process with the state and Three Rivers to go through that. And they basically came back and they said they don't see really anything they need to do in addition to accommodate these additional trips. They think that they have the roads currently have that ability. They didn't seem to want them to make any sort of intersection improvements. They said the city might want to consider this in the future, but they weren't requiring through that process the applicant to make any additional changes to the existing infrastructure to accommodate these trips.
And they were pretty much looking at just McIntosh. They weren't looking at all the
No.
other roads that they have to
No,
use.
they looked at Ashley Park Boulevard where it connects to Bullsboro Drive. They look at McIntosh Parkway and Indian Crossing Bypass. They looked down at Lower Fayetteville Road. Because part of this went through Coweta County. Coweta County wanted them to look at the intersection down by the hospital. They looked at the Celebrate Life Parkway interchange where it intersects into Bullsboro. Their scope was widened as a result of the DRI initial discussions as city and the county and the state required them to expand their study a little bit further. So their study encompassed a broader area than just McIntosh Parkway.
All right, thank you. And also the roads coming downtown here.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And if y'all have any other details on that, to answer that question, you'd be glad to provide more, but I think I answered that correctly based on the information I have. Yes, sir, Mr. Gillum, you look like you're perched.
Got it.
Did you have something?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you. I was calling on you.
Well, mine's just for clarity's sake, that what I'm viewing on that particular screen now is backed up to the Willows Apartments, is that right?
Up to the what, sir?
That there would be, on which side of that's across the street from the townhouses?
So, yes, sir,
No, not that. The
okay,
mixed-use aspect of it, where the rental office was, et
yes, sir,
cetera.
so this portion.
That there, okay,
Yes, sir,
I'm
these
just trying to
will be
get,
these will be the mixed use, and some of that will be mixed use. The apartments, I think, will be concentrated primarily on this side, if I'm not mistaken, with some over here, but this will all be townhomes down here on the southern portion.
right, okay, I got that. So my question to the applicant would be in consideration of, you definitely like the townhouse concept, which seems to be very popular right now. Was there any consideration as to adopting more townhouses on the other side of the street versus to mitigate or to minimize the 329 apartments? And then I'll address the way the plan sets at the same time, so you can think about this answer as to how you have the parking that would be viewed from McIntosh Parkway without a proper buffer, as opposed to enclosing the parking to where you would see just maybe a few cars versus a lot. Make sense?
So your question is, I guess, whether or not they want to include townhomes in the northern portion, and
My
whether or
question
not,
is, had they considered
and
like
ways to.
125 townhouses versus 70? I think I already know
Okay.
the answer, but.
And
I'm
ways to
asking-
screen the parking area, and
And
perhaps,
the parking area, which shows up front there, where they have basically parking that butts up to or close to without where the buffer is out with, I can't remember, what it was 30 or 40 feet or whatever.
that's a 15-foot landscape strip along the McIntosh Parkway side.
Yeah. The reason I'm bringing that up is because of the sight line that we have as you drive down McIntosh Parkway, all the other things that are going up, that, yeah, there's trees that'll grow up, but they're gonna take 20 years for those trees to grow, and there was really no buffer. You can see right into people's backyards. You got grills, you got some fence, there's no continuity as to the look. And so that's been my concern all along as to what has already been approved and what's already been building there. So that's my question. Just, it's a question.
Okay. I'm gonna let the applicant answer.
How do they arrive at that?
So I think, good afternoon, Melissa Griffiths, 32 South Court Square, Newnan, Georgia, 30263. I think your questions are going to require more than one of my professionals to answer it, because I believe with the parking, it's more of for the fire truck access to be able to turn around. So I'd rather let my civil engineer answer that question, if that's okay. And then I think that Paul Austin with Oxford should be the one to answer regarding why the townhomes are on the bottom with the multifamily and the commercial on top, if that's okay, if we skin the cat. I have everybody on the team, so I'm just trying to figure out who the best to answer those
Would
questions
be
are.
that person, yeah.
So I'm going to let one do one and another do the other, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Paul, the first question was regarding the townhomes being on the southern side only.
Sure, yes, sir. We did consider that, and I'm Paul Austin with Oxford Properties, development partner with our firm. We did look and consider townhomes across the street, but I think just with, the efficiencies as well as circulation, visibility for retail and whatnot, it was a little bit too congested, and we couldn't design to this optimal efficiency and layout. So ultimately, it made the most sense to keep the townhome concentration on the southern triangular parcel.
Okay.
I do have a question for you.
Can I just add to that? I'm sorry, Mr. Thomason. Also, just as a note, the townhome portion is all for sale. So everything on the
Right,
bottom is for
understood
sale.
that.
So that was one of the other considerations, I believe, with the townhome developer, is this is a for sale product on the southern portion, and the northern portion is a for rent project. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Thomason.
If I could just jump on real fast, Ms. Griffiths, while you're up.
Sure, yes, sir.
The roads are going to be private, even the roads down in the townhome section will be private? So all roads will be private in the whole development?
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
Okay, and just refresh, is Wilwott currently a private road? Yes. So you would have access from the current owners or whatever to access that road, and there'd be no problem, issues?
I mean, that's something that can be worked out through some sort of easement agreement, access agreement, whatever needs to be happening, but yes, sir, it will walk away. Now, to refresh council's memory, our ordinance requires private roads to be built to city standards. So there won't be any lessening of the actual infrastructure and how they're built.
Okay, all right.
And Wiltwall is the way it is right now, and I know Mr. Sears can correct me if I state this inaccurately, but per what was previously approved that had nothing to do with these applicants, that's what's there now, from what Mr. Smith spoke about earlier.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
And then do you want Mr. McKinnon to come now, Mr. Thomason, or do you want to?
Oh,
finish?
perfect. Yeah, finish
Okay.
up the other question. That'd be great. Then we'll go
Okay,
back to mine.
okay.
That's fine.
Mr. McKinnon, will you come?
Yes, so to address the question about
Just state your name.
Yes, sir. Jared McKinnon with Kimley Horn. I'm the civil engineer for the project. So to address the question about the parking located along McIntosh Parkway, what we were trying to do with that was locate I guess the amenity area kind of central to the project, so it's enclosed by the buildings in the center to really kind of create a really nice, private, grand amenity area. And comparative probably to most projects like this, the amenity area is actually quite large. It's about the size of a football if you measure it. It's a football field. It's very, very large. It's larger than probably any amenity space I have actually designed, and I've done a ton of multifamily projects over the years and mixed uses. So I think that's a really special aspect to this project that's going to really draw a lot of residents to it. The other thing I would say is the parking lot itself. We try to create a loop around the project for fire truck access to avoid, turnarounds and things like that. So firefighters have plenty of good access around the facility. They can get to each of the buildings, things like that. And then as far as the landscaping, there's actually a rather large landscape strip along McIntosh Parkway. There is a 15-foot required landscape strip, but there's actually a lot more. It's probably on the order of magnitude, kind of on the left side, maybe 30, 40 feet wide. And then as you approach that building, that is the L-shaped building at the right, it's probably more like 75 feet or more. So I think there's a really good opportunity there to put a lot of great landscaping. And hopefully it will help screen the parking lot much better.
So I just want to tag on that just real quick, since I asked the question. Understand the landscape side of it. A lot of the developments that I'm familiar with, actually one that's just up the street, there is a mound that is there. So I guess to be more specific, is there gonna be some type of buildup to where the landscaping would be on top of the berm to create an instant invisible setting, a barrier, and then the trees are on top of that, landscaped up, landscaped on the other side, and then you have the trees in the middle. That's what I'm really
Yeah.
asking. Is that a
Yeah, I think we
possibility,
can-
or is that part of it, or that's?
I think we can, okay, go ahead.
On the one you're referring to, that mound was there when they began grading. They didn't add that mound. So it was a natural condition. They just used to enhance. One other thing too.
Like
was that-
moving dirt, you can create a mound.
Yeah. The other thing too is that the southern portion is an active link trail. It's an active link trail. Hang on. Rhodes is
Go
going
your-
his own way, but in a
Go your own
minute.
way, man. Go the wrong way, your own way. I don't know.
So there's an active link trail that runs east to west along that southern portion of what's going to be the compartment and commercial. I think part of the required condition was there would be some bike racks for link purposes. Also, with some of the commercial facilities, they want to have easy pedestrian access for link users, apartment users. And so I think that may have been some of the thinking behind this design, was to create pedestrian-friendly, walk-friendly environments.
Sure.
But the mound, to your point with the Halcyon development, was an existing topographical condition at the time they began working on that. They did not create that mound.
Yeah.
But you can
I know
do
they-
berms.
I know they didn't create it.
Yeah.
It's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. However,
Yeah,
a mound can be created.
a mound can be created. It can be.
That's my point, because of just some of the other, and we know what I'm talking about up the street, that don't have
Right.
such a mound that's just flat and visual. And I understand the idea, easy access, et cetera. I'm just asking, is that a possibility, a thought?
I'll let you
something
answer that.
could be considered, that's all.
Yeah, I think it certainly is a possibility for certain areas of it. I think there is one area that is going to kind of lend itself to have the parking a little bit lower. But yeah, I think we can certainly build up a berm for
Yeah.
a good portion of it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And for the last part of your question, the applicant would be willing to, anything the city wanted or recommended in regards to whether it's fencing or whatever you said to make a consistent look along McIntosh Parkway, they're open to whatever you would like to see there. I mean, they tried to highly landscape that. And then on the southern portion, I just wanted to point that those townhomes will be facing McIntosh Parkway.
Right,
So that
right.
won't be
I
that
read
won't be.
that word,
Yes, sir.
Which I like that idea.
Yes, sir. So they've increased landscaping there, but if you all wanted something else, they would be more than happy to entertain any suggestions you had. We just got to this after our multiple meetings with staff to try to get to this point, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Griffiths,
Mr.
you
Thompson,
can
yes.
probably answer this question. Could you point me to the retail area on this site plan based
Yes,
on that
sir.
picture that was shown earlier?
And I'm going to let Mr.
And is that the picture?
I'm going to let,
Okay.
Mr. Austin has some
Okay,
other
okay,
pictures
great.
too, if you don't mind, if he could come up and show those. Paul, would you? And there's a-
That's correct. If you go to that mixed-use render.
So that picture, we were looking, it was a 90-degree angle. We were looking at it from a parking lot. So where am I? Is that McIntosh right there?
Correct.
Oh, perfect. Okay, good.
So you're looking into our mixed-use parcel right there.
Okay, great.
And this building on the left is the L-shaped building, and that building in the center of this photo where you see kitchen garden right here.
Right.
That's your two-story retail and commercial building. And then this building on the far right that parallels Wilwot Way, that's the end cap of retail that you see.
Okay.
in
And then
that site plan.
further to the right is where all the residential stacks are. Is that right?
Correct. So
The right side of that? That's, yeah. Is that correct? Oh,
No.
So.
Right.
So what you're saying, I think, is across Wilwot Way, correct? That's
Yeah, so we were on the left side of Willow Way, is where you're talking about.
correct.
Okay. Perfect. And then at the intersection there, McIntosh Parkway, the way we get from townhomes to Willow Way, and listen, it's just maybe my ignorance, but is it signaled or is it, what are we doing there to help people move from one side to the other?
There has been some conversation about maybe possibly turning into a four-way. But I
Okay.
don't think it's going to, there's no signalized intersection anticipated and nothing from the DRI
Okay.
came about that. But in conversation with Director of Engineering Services, Michael Clark, He did mention there may be at some point a need to put a four-way stop. At one point, there was a four-way stop there.
Took it out
Right.
because there's
And it took it
nothing
out.
there.
Right,
But it may
okay.
be need to, if there is a need, it can be put back.
So, yeah, so just envision you're in the townhouse, you got babies in a stroller, how are we gonna, what was, you're selling them on this great community experience. What are y'all thinking on how that really works out?
Hello, I'm John Walker, traffic engineer with Kimley Horn. We're located off Amber Park Drive in Alpharetta. Is it okay if I answer his traffic question, and I'll come back and answer your traffic question?
Perfect, yeah.
Okay, the 4,000 trips a day sounds like a big number, but that's 2,000 trips in, 2,000 trips out over a full 24 hours. So that's spread out over 24 hours. It's really actually not that much traffic. In fact, what we do when we do traffic studies, we look at the morning rush hour, afternoon rush hour, what we call the AM peak hour or the PM peak hour. The AM peak hour is about 195 exiting cars. In the afternoon, about 223 vehicles entering. So that's like 3 cars in a minute and 4 cars in a minute. So it's not huge. But what I will tell you, this is I worked on the DRI back in 2007. I did the traffic study back when it was considered retail and office. And I think it's important to note, back when we did that traffic study, back when it was contemplated to be retail and office, if we were to continue to build retail and office, it would be 3 times the traffic what we're proposing now. So this is a very dramatic downzoning relative to traffic. Say that again. The old DRI was 3 times more traffic than what we're proposing. So we're 4,000 trips a day. That one was 12,000 trips a day. You can see we highlighted in the blue row, daily traffic total 12,000. That's the old 2007 DRI. You scroll down 4,232. That's the new gross trips. Again, that's over 24 hours. Okay, so you can see 12,000 versus 4,000, big reduction with what we're proposing with the residential. Okay, all right. So I just want to make sure that it's not going from an agriculture zoning to residential. We're basically retail office down zoning to residential. So Ashley Park is a 4-way stop just to our east. And that's got pedestrian crosswalks all across the intersection, so pedestrians can cross all across that intersection. It's an all-way stop or a 4-way stop. What we're talking about now, you could, in fact, make it an all-way stop. I don't know the history, but I think back when it was an all-way stop, when you have an all-way stop, you like for there to be traffic on all 4 legs. You typically don't want to do an all-way stop if it's just traffic on one road and not much resistance on the other side street. So I can see how perhaps you got the comment that, hey, this would be a candidate location to just make it an all-way stop and have pedestrian crosswalks all across the intersection. But you can cross it at Ashley Park, which is right in the pin corner of our intersection, if you wanted to. Okay. I think as far as retail, office, I think, Newnan, I'm pretty sure Newnan crossing bypass is kind of the retail or the non-residential corridor. If you look at a Google Earth image, Ashley Park Boulevard kind of is that divider between the non-residential is to the east and the residential is to the west. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why it's just been sitting like this forever, It just feels like more of a residential area. But does that answer your question relative to traffic? Mm-hmm. So, it was a lot of traffic last time, a lot less traffic this time.
Kind of a tag on it. I don't know if this is a traffic question, but would the builder be willing to put paved sidewalks on both sides? And that helped increase that connectivity. I know there's some already, but then if potentially, just to increase that. I think that goes to Mr. Thomason's question about that connectivity between.
They're already there, Mr. Crick.
On both sides?
I believe so. That's our understanding.
Okay. I thought so.
Yes, sir. I believe they're already
okay.
there.
Well, and I had a question then, just to clarify on when you were asking about the L-shaped building, that one with the diagram, the 3 areas of the parcel. And I just want to make sure on that upper left side to the left of Wilwatt Way, there's only one building that's commercial, right? Because I'm just looking at your diagram here, and the L-shaped building shows multifamily. The long building, I think you call it the end cap, was also multifamily, and it was just that smaller building, that 2-story building in the middle that was commercial. I just want to make sure, because like I said, your diagram, the way I was seeing it, looked like,
Correct, so this depicts that exact portion of the site plan. So you'll see ground floor, commercial and retail on that L-shaped building. And then you see in the middle, that's 2 stories worth of commercial and retail space, as well as the end cap on the ground floor of that building that parallels Willwott Way.
so the
So
ground.
all 3 buildings have commercial and retail space.
So the L-shaped and that end cap are, or at least what can be, the entire ground floor will be commercial, and there'll be no residential on those at all?
Well, it's above it, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
Yeah, but it's the ground floor on the parking lot side of the L-shaped building. It's basically both floor plates of the 2-story building in the middle. And then it's just the end cap portion of the building that parallels Willwott Way. I do also have our architect, Ellen Garland, with Silver Studio.
Yes.
Hi, Ellen Garland, Silver Studio. Do you mind going back to the floor plan for a second? And if I can figure out how to use this, I will. This button? Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, no, I'm, okay. It's in here somewhere. There we go. Okay. So we've got commercial space just at the end cap on the ground floor of this building. Oh, sorry. Too many buttons and too long of nails. Here we go. So the end cap here. This pointer doesn't like me. This entire building is that 2-story commercial, and then the ground floor that fronts the parking here only. And then the back side of this building and the back side here of this L will all be residential all the way down to the ground.
Do you have elevations of anything more than the retail, the commercial
We
part?
have a elevation of the multifamily on this side, which would be representative of the look of the length of the building on that side. I
Do you have that with you?
do, let me
Oh, good.
figure
Sorry,
out
so-
your clicker.
I got it here,
There
okay,
we
good. Because I'm getting, this is helping me out a little bit, because when I first looked at
That was
this.
it. Yeah, so if you flip to the next slide, actually, that's, oh, I'll do it. There we go.
Okay,
This elevation is all residential. And that would be representative of what the length of the building would look like behind the commercial space.
and the ones on the other side of the road, they're all similar look to that?
Yes,
Okay, very good.
absolutely, yeah.
So that building is actually on the other side of the road facing Macintosh.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, so this leasing office space, that is represented right here on the plan, and this is to the right of Willwott. So this area here, there's a leasing office, the amenity space would be behind that, and then the residential elevation you saw is along here, and that would be representative of what that building on the other side would be as well.
All right, so
There's
I
the
have
leasing office, there's the residential.
along, and maybe you're, maybe or maybe not, but why mixed use? Why not just straight apartments? What does the mixed use do other than allow you to come in under our mixed use? But is there a benefit to the people that rent or the citizens of Newnan? Why do we go there these days?
So I'm going to take the first stab at that if you don't mind. But if you look at the definition for the mixed-use development in the ordinance, it encourages live, play, and work. And so this site being at the link and being kind of in between what I'll call more commercial right at Ashley Park and more residential coming closer to the city, it's kind of an in-between, so this offers everything. The fact that it was already zoned, and like Dean said, with the northern part that's just apartments now, they didn't have MXD back in the day when this zoning occurred, but that's what they kind of tried to create in this area. It has been commercial for over 18 years and has been undeveloped. So clearly, we're probably not going to get complete commercial on both sides. At least we haven't in the past 18, almost 20 years. So the goal in looking at the ordinance was, okay, what would fit here? What would go? And in looking at it mixed use, it allows for a down zoning from the complete commercial that it is now, but it also allows for transition into commercial meets office meets residential, and you've got just apartments right behind that have no other offerings. But it allows for the owners of a townhome to be able to drive across the street to the dry cleaner or get a coffee or go to the gym or whoever we're able to rent out to. And then it allows those that are in the apartments to have those same amenities without having to leave where they are, because the younger generation, and I'm sad to say I don't include myself in that anymore, but the younger generation, I mean, that's what they're looking for. You know, a lot of them don't even leave home to work now, depending on what their careers are, but they're looking for the quick service, the fast service type thing where they don't have to go way out of the way to go to the dry cleaners or to go get a sandwich or to get coffee or things of that nature. So that's kind of how we came to this. We actually started this project over 2 years ago and met with staff to talk through ideas. And I can tell you that this plan is a long way from where we first started. And it's much better, but it's going back to the ordinance and looking at what is around and what we felt kind of fit in there based on the definition. Because, you know, that mixed-use development, like Dean pointed out, with the RML and with the RMH, there's set numbers for what your setbacks have to be, what your density has to be. But for the mixed use, it allows you more creativity, and that's what this team has done. This team has put together creativity. You know, the commercial / residential of over 26,000, I mean, that's the largest number and percentage on any project that I brought to you all since MXD was created. And I know I filed the first MXD application the day after the ordinance was approved years back. So I think it just continues to morph into, I think, what the vision was that you all had and the prior council members before you of what that definition and what you're looking for. So that's what we think this is, and that's how we got to it, because it didn't feel like it was a complete residential piece. It felt like something was missing there, and obviously as a complete commercial piece, nobody's, you know, jumped on it in 18 years. So I hope that wasn't too long.
No, it's
To
perfect.
answer
Thank you
your
for doing
question.
that. I got one more thing.
yes,
Along,
sir. Sorry.
going back to this crossing, and thanks for the, was it Mr. McKinnon, anyway, that did the traffic. But so to me, I see what you're saying. We can go all the way around there to get there, and that just seems like we're missing, like the shortest route is across the street.
Yes, sir.
So is it possible that you all could put a crosswalk that flashes, that we can signalize that stops the traffic so people can go across safely without having to, because I don't see them going all the way around to do that when they can just, the shortcuts across this busy road. Is y'all know what I'm saying? A signalized pedestrian crossing, probably in our bike ped plan type thing that the
You mean like the
guidelines
one
that we
that
have.
they added on Jackson Street with the, where you hit the
Something
button and the
similar to- yeah,
flashing
something
light? Is that
similar
what
to
you're
that.
talking about,
Yep.
Mr. Thomason?
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
more dramatic than that, but yeah. I'd like to see that for me to, in my mind, say you actually have included the townhouse with the amenities truly, and not just, oh, it looks good on paper.
Do you want to address that, John?
So when we consider a pedestrian crosswalk, there's a couple different applications for that. Some people call it a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, RRFB, where it's pole mounted and it flashes yellow. So you go and you push the button and it just yellow. Okay, there is no red light, there is no stop bar like at a signal. It's just, it flashes yellow to assist that pedestrian and alert the motorist that somebody, it doesn't flash unless you push the button. So if you push the button, it flashes, so a motorist knows somebody pushed that button. So that's what it's called, RRFB. You see them all over the place, but they flash alternating yellow on. So that is an application that you see quite frequently. I'm not sure if that's the one that you've referenced. Is it yet? Okay.
We got them. They're going to in my neighborhood. Is that something y'all would consider doing?
We can, and those, you see those at mid-block locations, or sometimes you see them at an intersection. So it just kind of depends on where you think the most appropriate place.
Mid-block is what I'm thinking.
I would have to rely on staff
Yeah.
maybe
So,
to get some input.
I think the applicant will be more than willing to have Mr. Walker work with Mr. Clark to figure out where the best location, and if that's what the city wants, that wouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Thomason, would you like to see that as a condition that comes to you at the August 26th public hearing?
I would. Yep. Because part of mixed use is pedestrian. And so I think we need to make that, if there's a possibility to make it as safe and as easy for the pedestrians, we should do it.
Certainly, we will have Mr. Walker get in touch with Mr. Clark and then try to go ahead and work out, to add that as a proffered condition
Quite simply,
before the
to symbolize
26th.
That the developer will agree to work with staff to enhance the improvements of the Will-Watt-McIntosh Parkway intersection to encourage pedestrian safety. Would that be a fair
Perfect.
condition?
Be great.
We would be willing to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
Well, while you're up, a couple more questions.
Yes, sir.
Will these private roads or any of this development be gated?
Who wants to, do you want Warren to?
I'll go back to this site plan. So you see here, we have, this is the mixed-use parcel. We have a gate right here. That will be for our residents behind this gate here. This portion will be gated. All of this will be open for residents as well, but primarily the retail and commercial space. And then as we go to this portion here, we have a gate access point right here, a gate access point right here, and then a gate access point right here, which is a right-in, right-out on Ashley Park. All three of those locations will be gated.
If you're coming over from the townhomes and you're walking, how would you get in?
Sorry, this mouse seems to be frozen. I don't think it's just you, Ellen.
Makes me feel better.
And will the townhouses be gated?
They will be. I'm trying to get, there we go.
Okay.
You'll see there's their gate access point right there, and we do have a pull-off right at this point as well.
And what about the other entrance? The service
So,
entrance or the emergency entrance?
Yeah, this entry point is for fire emergency only. And there, you can see there's a gate right there.
So I'm in the townhouse, we're on this, how do I walk out of there? Do I walk through a main gate or is there a pedestrian gate?
Or is it just the road that's gated?
I'm Warren Jolly, the president of the Providence Group. So you have a pedestrian gate, and it will be like a little mag lock, but it's all going to be accessible all the time.
Okay.
And so they'll have their own gate. So
Correct.
you'll have kind of matching, there'll be a gate on each side of the entranceway, and then two gates coming in.
Correct.
The thing about, you can see the distance we have, so we got plenty of stacking and a way to turn for safety that nobody really needs to back out, which is a great situation. But the gated, we do, 40 communities a year. These, it's really an added value, perceived value, and it's not a safety issue. Normally, when you have neighborhood connectivity, we don't really have any connectivity we'll ever go to the adjacent properties. So it really makes sense because it does add value, believe it or not.
So on the other side, they have a similar pedestrian gate
Both sides
where
will
those,
have a gate.
he mentioned the auto gate, the automobile gates.
Yeah,
They
you'll have it
similar-
on both sides of the entranceway will be a walkway, like, 'cause the walkway goes around the frontage.
Gotcha.
And then you could come in the subdivision on one side of the gate, and then you can go out the other side of the gate and go down the other walkway the other way. So there's two gates for pedestrians.
Okay.
And then there'll probably be a gate somewhere midway. Like, for instance, the homes that face the road, we will have some gates along there that somebody can walk out their front door and go to the city sidewalk and go down the sidewalk to the crossing.
Okay.
And so we'll have some gates along the front, but they'll be more in front of the unit type gates. But for access, like pedestrian walkways, all the walkways will be gated.
So the entire property will be fenced?
Excuse me?
All three lots will be fenced?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a metal fence.
A fence all the way around, a 360 fence on the whole thing?
No,
On all
no,
three
sir.
parts?
No, we'll have a fence along the frontage. It's not perceived a gated community, it's all
Okay,
fenced in.
okay.
So the front will be gated, the access will be gated from vehicle access points. And then we will fence off any area that we worry about, walk through, connect traffic if you wanted to, but it doesn't mean it's like a gated community fenced in.
Yep, okay, just the
Okay.
facade
Oh, I
of
got you.
fence.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
All right.
And the gates are metal, iron, aluminum-looking gates are not like, you can't see through it. We're facing the units out, so you see the good of the unit. You're not trying to hide it.
Okay, got another question for someone.
Yeah, let me go back to
Sure.
the multifamily parcel real quick, if I can get there.
Megan, you might have to help me with the slides.
Which one?
There you go, if you'll stop right there. So as Warren was saying, vehicular access points will also have pedestrian access points as well. So we're covered there. And then, obviously, anyone could walk in from the sidewalk into the community, go directly into the leasing office. And then on the,
So that lot will be fenced on three sides, all three sides that face roads?
well, no, so this will be totally enclosed so basically this vehicular will go in, and it'll tie in, we're fenced back here, fenced here. So this portion is enclosed by fence.
Okay.
And then you have your three vehicular as well as pedestrian access points.
Yep.
There is no fence for this portion of the parking and public access into the amenities and leasing office here to take a tour. And then as you go to the mixed-use parcel, it'll get there. Do you mind going one more slide back for me, please? Well, one more. Keep going. Other way, sorry. Keep going. There we go. So this is all open to the public since this is retail and commercial space. You'd come in, if you're coming on the link trail, you'd come in, this is our designated link trail access point. This is all accessible off of McIntosh as well as Wilwatt. This is the only portion that is gated on this parcel.
Okay, so while we're talking about that, how many residences are here and how many proposed commercial storefronts? And the reason I ask is there going to be enough parking? Tell me about the parking and how that fits into the whole picture.
So Jared would have the exact count, but, there are specific spaces per thousand that you are required to have, which we do have.
As a minimum, or do you going to have more? Because, people
Correct.
tend to have more cars than
Sure. But I think,
it's mixed.
Yeah, so I don't have the exact count for you, but what we're trying to do is for like the multifamily residential, have over 1.5 spaces per apartment unit. And then for the office commercial, 1 space per 250 square foot minimum. And then for the restaurant space, it's 1 space per 75 square foot. And we're actually exceeding the total parking count by almost 70 spaces.
In this one tract right here?
Amongst this tract and the tract just across Wilwatt Way to the right where the leasing office is for the apartments.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Mr. Smith, you got anything closing?
no, sir, that's all I have.
Melissa, Ms. Griffiths-Mean?
I just want to make sure the parking meets the ordinance requirements. I mean, what Mr. McKinnon was going over, that meets the city's ordinance requirements. So
Most projects we have excessive parking if you go look. You go look on the worst day of the year and there's still parking places. Very seldom is anywhere in the city ordinance is there going to be need for more parking.
How many, for the townhouse section, what's the parking?
It's two off-street spaces per residential unit. You can have a garage, it counts as that.
And there's no other like off-street parking or like if they have guests or anything like that? So
No,
there's
sir.
no parking for that?
Not required. Yes.
Yeah.
There are 2 in the driveway, Mr. Karitko, for the townhomes. There are 2 parking in the driveway.
Okay.
Outside of the garage.
Okay.
All right. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for a public meeting. Okay, thank you. Motion to adjourn?
So I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like, good, motion carries. Thank you.